All right. Now that we got that out of the way, call the meeting to order. Anna, if you'd call roll, please.
Silver. Kurland.
Here.
Vincent.
Here.
Perry.
Here.
Charnas.
Here.
Klein.
Here.
Duber.
I'm here. We have joining us again, Anthony Farino, the branch manager of the Orange Cuyahoga County Public Library. Hi there. Thanks for joining. And I think you were here before, right? And told us about the COVID tests. Was that you before? I'm trying to remember.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Those
thought.
were-
So that was good information then. And what do you have to offer us today?
Yeah, those were similar times, I guess. We occasionally get them in. I think we've got a batch of 70 or so, but they're not in as high demand as they were. But yeah, I've got a few new updates. We've got a new website we just launched yesterday, along with a few other staff members around the system. I've helped to kind of get this off the ground. We've got a new Ask Us chat service. So if you go to any other library system around the country, you're going to start seeing these pop up. But we've got a live chat. So if you're on the website and you want to ask a question during open hours, we're there to chat live. If we're closed, there's a form you can submit, and we try to get back within 24 hours. So that's a cool new service that we're doing. So the Cuyahoga County Public Library turns 100 years old this year. So our summer reading program theme is celebrating 100 years of reading, and we've got pre-registration open now. And I've pushed this to all the schools, but just want to make you all aware. Game officially starts on June 4th. And another cool thing we're doing here at Orange and at our administration is I've been in talks with the Real Abilities Film Festival for the past few years. And because of the pandemic, we've just kind of put up flyers, and they've done their film festival virtually. But for those unfamiliar, it's the biggest film festival in the US dedicated to promoting awareness and appreciation of the life stories and artistic expressions of people with different disabilities. And we're going to focus on children with disabilities here at Orange in the fall. We're going to have a couple of short films. They're only about 5 minutes long just because kids aren't going to last longer than that. And then we're going to have a few activities that are centered around National Disability Awareness Month, which is in October. I think I said this last time, but we've got digital navigators. It was really new then, and we're off the ground and running now. And I think they're going to have a van where they're actually going to travel from branch to branch. But these are some of our staff members that offer one-on-one assistance to help people connect to the internet, get advice, set up a telehealth appointment, and do even more. So someone that really needs one-on-one help with something real technical, I have a telephone number I'll drop in the chat for our digital navigators. It's a cool new service. We're back to doing passports. We've got in-person story times 3 days a week. Meeting rooms, people can still book. We've got 4 study rooms that people can book a week in advance. They can book them online themselves or give us a ring. And then we're still doing the Zoom licenses. So we've got 27 2-hour Zoom licenses that we lend out 24/7. And as always, we've got our library to you service, which is our homebound service, or just those residents that are finding it difficult to get out, where we are mailing materials to customers. So yeah, we're doing our thing. We're open. Masks are optional, but we're still looking for people to get into the library. So
Thank you.
yeah, we appreciate Anna promoting all our services whenever we send her an email. So thank you, Anna.
Hey, Tony, I have
two quick things. Do you have are you going to have an app with the new chat service, a mobile app?
So we've got a mobile app and they're trying to integrate it. We're kind of at the will of SpringShare, who provides the chat service. So at this point, it's not going to be through the app, but it is definitely mobile friendly with our new website, which before, if you used our website with a phone or tablet, it wasn't so much.
And then the other thing is for your disabilities program, there's a wonderful disabilities program going on at the middle school right now. I don't know if you want to tie into that with Lindsay, but if you give me a call, I can set you up with that. They do a snack program that's all self-contained, but the students learn to take orders and fill the orders and then distribute them as part of getting them ready for the workforce eventually. It's a great program. So
Oh,
might
cool.
be a nice feature. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the films on Down syndrome and autism. So I'm going to try to partner with Milestones because they're, right around the corner.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
No, you're always welcome to, thanks for the updates and everything like that. You're always welcome to join us. And I know that I appreciate it and give some good information. So
Cool.
Thank you for doing that. And thanks for all you're doing.
Yeah, appreciate you all. Thank you.
All right, so let's move on to motion to approve the special council meeting minutes of April 6, 2022. I will make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? All right, then let's call roll, please.
Kurland. Kurland,
She said yes, but she was muted.
Sorry,
Oh.
yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Charnas,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. And I'll make a motion to approve the council meeting minutes of April 13th, 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And if you would please.
Kurland,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Charnas,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. I'll make a motion to authorize the expenditure not to exceed $25,979.63 for improvements to the boiler room controls, HVAC from Train. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Zugan, would you like to discuss this with us?
Not really, but I will. I'll try and keep it short and sweet and not get too technical. But in the 2022 budget, we earmark a bunch of potential projects. One of them that we were doing was bringing up some of our HVAC equipment online with our Tracer SC. It's a control system and it's pretty modern and allows us a lot of opportunity to manage, control, troubleshoot and stuff like that. During the process that we were doing this, we actually had the boiler control system go down. As explained in the email, we've actually had the boilers on bypass running nonstop because the control system that we have currently that controls those boilers are not supported anymore. That's all original equipment. So we sort of been holding off on this, doing due diligence, and I presented to you and have spoken to the mayor about this. Part of this will replace the broken components, but it'll bring all our boiler systems online to our front end controls, allow a lot more efficiency, troubleshooting. We're able to see everything. We have 7 boilers there. If anybody is curious about the boilers, we annually have an inspection by the state that come out and does the boilers. And the boilers are our original equipment, but they are pretty heavy industrial units. And we've been told by the state inspectors that these things, can get 50+ years of life out of them. So you can see that we had 2 companies, Relmec and Train. Relmec has done some work for us before, but this is all Train equipment. Our boilers, our control systems are Train, and they're pretty technical. I think it's important that we have Train do this. They commission the systems as well as all that. They're very familiar with it, and they're much more in detail of what they're actually going to be providing us with new components all the way through. So this should put us through quite some time. And, you know, in the event that anything happens in the future with our building, you know, this is all original equipment that's going to takes care of our admin, our police, and, you know, fire and stuff like that. So, you know, nothing's going to change the base of our building. Anything additional, you know, would have to be compensated then. But this is something that really we can't wait for. So.
And we have a grant to lower the price out to the village, right?
That's correct. You'll see we, you know, maybe a month ago, I believe it was, we authorized a legislation to accept the NOPEC grant. That was $8,814. So that will be applied to this. And we've been continuing to use that NOPEC grant to do energy conservation programs. And this certainly falls in line with that NOPEC.
Thank you.
I completely understand why you'd want to stay with Train, especially since that's the equipment. I'm just wondering, what do you attribute the difference is almost 10,000, looks like $10,000 difference. Why such a big discrepancy between the two?
One of the big ones is that Relmec is suggesting to do just 2 controls instead of all the boiler units. And that's so one of the problems that we're having is something goes down, it requires our staff to come in and look at it. They have no control over it. So basically it was replacing some of the components. This allows us to troubleshoot something and actually remotely via an app. My guy can look at it. That's Saturday at his house, and he can take this boiler that's having problems, put it offline, and bring another one up.
I know the Train has a system where they monitor, have a monitoring program. Is that something that would have any value for Orange Village?
We've talked about this before, and yes, Judd, you were exactly right. They can, and they do a lot of high-end businesses. I mean, they will take total control of like hospitals and big manufacturing companies and stuff like that. There is a cost involved with that. I think we pretty much managed it in-house, and we've certainly seen efficiencies of projects that we've done in the past and what we're doing now. You know, it's something that if we do some improvements with, you know, in additions with the buildings, maybe it's something that we can look at. But this Tracer SC that was done and covered by grant money before is one of those adaptable units that they can go on and look at it. We have not done that yet. And, you know, it's something that may or may not be on our radar. It doesn't make sense, though, if we don't have all our components hooked up. And that's what we're working on now, is to bring like our Co-Ray vacs on in the fire department and police department, lighting controls. I mean, this is so expandable. And years ago, we had Gardner Train, which when they were still in business, they came over and they gave us quite an extensive laundry list of stuff. And Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was in the neighborhood of $600,000 plus of all this stuff they wanted to do. So we've been chewing bits and pieces off at a time, and, you know, trying to be prudent with our money.
Which it lists a number of different license types. Which type do we get with this? Because it says some of them, do we have one person, like some of them are only one user versus multiple users? And do we have one user that gets trained on it?
I have 2 of my guys on, my foreman is on, and the guy that takes care of it. It's pretty much down to 2, you know, and it's app related. So, you know, they're doing it through their phones, but, you know, it can be expandable, I would assume. I haven't gotten that detail before because I don't know how far we want to expand it. You know, Anna does, you know, she has controls where she can set things through this system for setting up for meetings and stuff like that as well. So hopefully that answers your question, Alan.
Yeah, I would just clarify because they list like 5 different license types, which one we're getting, because some of them you only have, you know, X amount of users versus it being on everything else.
Well, that was one of the problems with Relmec is, you know, the way they communicate with that. a lot of these companies are proprietary with their equipment, and Train is one of them. And they're no different probably than Carrier and different other controls and stuff like that. So, but that allows them where other companies might have some difficulty navigating through, the tracer and how it's back net wired.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Zugan? All right. If that's the case, then Anna, if you'd call roll, please.
Erland,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. Moving on to audience comments. Which there's no audience. Old business, ordinance 2022-7, an ordinance prohibiting the discharge, ignition, or explosion of fireworks within Orange Village is on for third reading. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Does anybody have any comments on this? Anybody else get letters from the firework companies?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that was funny. All right, if there's no comments, if you call roll, please.
Erland,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. Audience comments again, there's none. Mayor comments?
I have a few. Briefly, this Friday is Computer Flag and Hazardous Waste Collection at the Service Department. Today is also International Firefighters Day. Did you know that, Chief Wilson? Yes, okay, good. Next week, we will have some substantive work. We will probably have the TIF ordinance for the third and final reading. And we will also have the motion to accept a new garbage contract and a presentation from Bob about that fascinating subject. And finally, I'll just wish all the mothers a happy Mother's Day, which is always my favorite holiday. I could be center of attention and I don't get a year older. But now that my daughters are all mothers, I don't think it's so much fun anymore. But happy Mother's Day to everybody.
That sounds selfish. I don't think I really have any comments at the moment. I had something and now I can't think of it. So if I remember, I will speak up. Otherwise, Mrs. Perry.
Thanks. We met at finance tonight and learned Dana's on vacation next week. So we will not present the financials for last month. This month, we're going to wait until the next month. So we'll wait till June when she's back and can answer questions. We went over the financials in Finance Committee, and all the variances are almost 100% timing issues. And she will explain that next month. But the Finance Committee was pleased with the report, and there was nothing strange about it or anything. And then I also want to add that I will not be at either meeting in June, and ask you to excuse me from the formal council meeting, please. I'll be on vacation for a week and a half, and it just happens to overlap both Wednesdays. So my apologies. And that's the end of my report. Oh, Garden Committee, one more thing. Garden Committee meeting is Saturday at 10, Anna? 10 or 9? 9. Thank you, Anna. At 9 o'clock at Village Hall, if anybody's interested in seeing our gardeners at work. It's pretty fun, actually. So it's not a yawner meeting anyway. And that's the end of my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next there? Miss Curland?
All I want to say as a Star Wars fan, may the fourth be with you. And that's all I have.
Boo. All right, Mr. Charnas.
I just have one question for Bob Zugan. Amanda, I don't know if you've been asked this, but I've been asked by a few people, what utilities are they laying in Orange Tree? Now they're going up Brainerd, I think. I don't have an answer for him, so I'm guessing as well.
Well, first of all, I would suggest anybody that calls and asks, they can be referred to the building department. They're aware of it, but AT&T is putting fiber optic lines and they've got like 20 locations throughout the village under one permit. So we do have an engineer on site, but they're basically upgrading all their and installing new duct and running new fiber line, which ultimately at the end of the day should be improvements to our residents for service.
Excellent to hear. Thank you. That's my only comment.
Thank you. I remember one of my comments that, or one of the things I want to bring up. Mayor, I know you're aware of some stench that's been going on around the Orangewood area. I know that there's been several people complaining about it. Want to see what the status is on that and what anyone is doing about it.
Mr. Zugan is certainly delving into this, and I will defer to his answer.
Boy, you get all the limelight tonight. Woodbrand is doing some cleaning of their tanks. It's been 40 years in the making. So they have roughly two 50-foot by 30-foot, 9.5 feet deep troughs that they've hired a contractor to come and clean them out. There's about 2.5 feet of solidified waste on the bottom that needs to come out. The hiccup has been that the first company didn't work so well and they had to hire out a second company. We did not know this when the first notice came about. We contacted
First complaint.
our first complaint. We contacted the Board of Health. We contacted Ed Wren, the village engineer with Woodmere. Brian, our engineer, is cognizant about it too, as well.
Contacted EPA too.
Well, yeah, let me finish there. So, and then we got a response back from Randy Curtis, who we all know runs Woodbrand. You know, it's something that needs to be done. We've had some complaints. I've taken it farther and I talked to Joe Trocchio with the Ohio EPA out of Twinsburg office. They are compliant with everything, permitting, all the stuff that goes along, and they are very aware what's going on, and everything falls under their jurisdiction. The Board of Health has no control over Woodbrand. The village doesn't have any, basically because that operation is not in our town. You know, our tie-in is that it serves our residents. And to be honest, there should have been more advance notice. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that.
But this is the first time they're cleaning them in 50 years, 50?
40. So I actually then in turn, Joe,
Is that
Trocchio.
code?
Well, I asked a couple of questions of that to EPA, and one of them was, we waited 40 years. Does that mean we're going to change the cycle and the frequency is going to happen more often? And he didn't quite have that answer, with the exception of they'll look at it, but it's not uncommon. You know, he knows that the smell is bad. Woodbrand themselves, they did spend, you know, I was told about $1,000 worth of deodorizant kegs. And I actually was set up by Ohio EPA to go tour Woodbrand the other day, which I did. You know, they're doing the best they can. Unfortunately, it's still going to continue because the second company came in. They have to bring in plates around it, bring in a crane, drop equipment down in these vaults, and then scoop it out that way. So it's still ongoing, and they said there's a possibility that the other one will be done in the fall. And I requested that we can please get advance notice so we can put it to our residents. Ultimately, at the end of the day, unfortunately, there's probably not much we're going to do. I mean, this is not a good job, and you know, that's what their business is.
Is it only going to be this bad every 40 years? I mean, I've had very few complaints over the years, very few. This has been like no other.
Yes, and I can't give you the detail of the time frame and stuff like that. That's something that falls under Woodbrand and the Ohio EPA and stuff like that. Could it have gone longer? I don't know. Should have been done less? I don't know. I mean, I probably wasn't privy to all that information, but I wanted to know, I mean, watch what you wish for.
I was going to talk about this with you further. I just want to minimize this. It's awful that our residents should have this.
Yeah, well, they
How long
have
is this
taken,
going to be going on for? Do we know?
It was supposed to be a few
No.
days.
well, and that's part of the problem, and Ohio EPA knew about it. And part of the issue was Clean Harbors, who I thought they were the authority in environmental. They're the first company that had some issues, and they stopped that contract because of the problems they were having. So, the plates are there. The crane was supposed to be going in today, and they were looking at starting the clean out later or next week. Prevailing wind, the bad thing the bad thing for Orangewood residents, obviously, the prevailing winds come from the northwest, and where that backs up by Beechmont and Wild Cherry, those prevailing winds are going to bring that odor through. But again, there's nothing in our control that can be done with this. And, with the authority of the Ohio EPA, 40 years, maybe 40 years is better than having this done every 10 years, and we'll have the same complaints every 10 years. So,
That's what I'm wondering. Mhm.
What do they do
I
with
want to know if we
Do you
can
know
assure our residents.
how long is this supposed to take? Do you know? Like when should this-
based on weather and getting the equipment in and the crane and all that stuff, this potentially could go on for another week and a half, but the removal of that effluent out of there would be about 2.5 days. There's a lot of setting up of equipment and stuff. And while they're there, 40 years worth of equipment in there, a bunch of that stuff gets replaced. So there's a lot of stuff, aerating equipment down there and piping that needs to be replaced as well.
I just want to know if after they're done with this, are our residents over there able to rest comfortably for another 40 years?
I hope so, and I think we will reach out to Randy Curtis and get clarification of that once this project's done.
Okay,
I also understand that they said that they were going to use some of those deodorizer agents or whatever, and that they were actually
Anti-masking.
not being used, the anti-masking, and it wasn't being used.
They are being used. I was witness to them. They've got them hanging on the rails. They got them all around the tank.
Did they just put them out? Do you know?
I can't answer that. They were
Okay.
there when I went there. And they
When
looked
was
like
that?
they had been there for a while because it looked like they were, it's
Went
like a
yesterday.
candle. It looked like they were melted down some.
you went yesterday or the day before?
Day
Yeah, you
before.
went yesterday. Oh, Monday? Monday?
All right. Well, thanks for the,
Your brother sounds just like you.
I didn't
my
think so.
brother's pissed. I mean, it's for a good reason. I mean, it stinks.
It's awful. It's terrible.
Well, with the one tank is still covered with water. If they had, in the one tank is that they're getting ready to work on has been all the water pumped off, where it's probably a good thing that the water is sealed the cap on the one, bin there, so to speak. It's sort of holding that water in. So, I mean, Ohio EPA said, look, it's poop. It's going to smell. There's nothing they can do. They can't encapsulate it. They can't, it's open right now to the environment, and it's normally sealed off with water, but could be worse. We could be the one in the equipment down in that vault.
What would
See
be
the line
worse?
from Billy Madison.
Not the equipment in the vault.
They're dropping skid steers down in there to take the skid steer, drop it into hoppers. They crane that off and put it into tanks. I was assured that they have the liners that are going in there. So thank God they're not going through our town, but a lot of that stuff holding water would seep out the tailgate of a dump truck. And we certainly wouldn't want that in our town either.
Well, which direction on Chagrin do they travel?
Well, hopefully my brother was at least nice to you, at least about this.
Well, I hope
He was very pleasant and he was understanding. We had a great conversation.
All right. All right. Who next? Mr. Klein.
Hi, everybody. I guess I just want to acknowledge today is the Kent State's 51st memorial of the shootings that took place at Kent State. And there are memorial ceremonies going on this week at the Kent campuses. Planning Commission met last night. We approved 3 new houses for the Pulte Homes section of Lakes of Orange. I believe they only have 1 property left in the Pulte bank for more houses over there. Obviously, there's still some homes that are available through Curtis and a number of sites in phase 6 and 7, and there's 3 more over here by me. So we're going to see those things come to a conclusion pretty quickly as Pulte seems to be very aggressive in terms of the marketing of their properties and selling their homes, and they've been very well received, and obviously we've seen a lot of growth from them. The other thing I wanted to report on, the Ready Committee met last week. After thorough discussion at the committee, the following alternatives were proposed. Number 1, promoting a celebratory event, one that recognizes our diversity, continues to promote and acknowledge all the resources in our community, reinforcing it, celebrating our safety services, service department administration that contribute to making Orange Village a great place to live. Our celebration could serve as an example to other communities to embrace our diversity and recognize it as a value we promote. The event could connect to an existing or standalone program and would focus on and highlight the racial diversity, inclusivity, and belonging to the Orange Village community. It could be highlighted with banners. As you may note, there are banners currently up about Orange Goes Green. These could be also replaced with message regarding community diversity. Banners could recognize our veterans of racial, social, and ethnic groups. Banners identify and recognize our community police, fire, and service department members in their diversity, and provide the community, along with this, perhaps consider providing a community education session that can address understanding our diversity and defining our Ready and Be themes with a speaker. It would create an opportunity for engagement and discussion. The second thing that was proposed is the Committee of Council be dissolved and replaced by an Orange Village Racial Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Community Interest Group. It would be populated and led by members of the community. Such a group can better address the challenges of this subject through participants who can offer insight, knowledge, advice, and suggestions, which could be provided to council, administration, and departments as appropriate. This format enables engagement of a larger audience that may be more likely to allow others to contribute outside of a formal setting. And third, work with the mayor to develop some survey questions that might be included in a community-wide survey that would gauge resident perceptions and desires regarding equity, diversity in the village. And then fourth is prepare an article for the newsletter that wraps up what we're doing on Have Done. So those, the net result of pursuing this alternative strategy would provide a positive community perspective and raise our sense of belonging in Orange Village. It would provide for an appreciation and pride in our community. And that's my report from the Ready Committee.
Okay. Any other comments? That's it?
That's it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you. Ms. Vincent.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I was wondering, I have a couple of questions about just updates. Do we have an update on the RH Mansion, where that is, or do we know when we're going to hear back about anything with
That's
that?
the legislation that we have to pass.
That's
Right.
what will be here next week. Yes, Warrenville Heights has done what they needed to do, and it looks like this is the final detail.
Got it. Thank you. And then do we have a tentative start date for the road work in Orange Hill?
Bob, I don't,
They just dropped off the contracts. We have not had a pre-con meeting yet scheduled. So I don't have that. Maybe
When you
next
get it.
week. I'll,
Yeah,
yep.
I had a couple of questions about that. Thank you.
when is the pre-con meeting?
One has
And then
not been scheduled yet, so hopefully, they just dropped off the spec books, the signed contracts.
When we know, Stacy, we'll certainly get that communicated.
Thank you.
And
And I
Stacy,
was just
just be
wondering-
advised, we will put something out, to all those residents up there that the, construction project will be coming and make notice to the
Explaining it.
residents.
Great. And we're happy to post it on our Orange Hill page as well. So if you want to share that with us, thank you. And I'm just wondering if there's any update on Officer Doublejack, how he's doing. I saw him a couple weeks ago. He was in good stead, but haven't heard in a couple
He's
weeks.
struggling. He's every day he's making recovery, but new things are popping up here and there. It's going to be a long haul.
Yeah.
I
So-
texted with him today. He appreciates that everyone's thinking of him.
Yeah, I know he loved the cards everybody sent, so that was nice. On that note, I don't know how many of you saw on Nextdoor. I don't know if it appeared on everyone's Nextdoor or not, but I thought it was worth sharing. There's been a shout out to the Orange Village Police that's been kind of wending its way through Nextdoor. The officers have been commended repeatedly for keeping our community safe. And I want to quote one resident. I don't think it's at Orange Village, but somebody who said, the Orange Village Police Department is the finest, friendliest, hardworking group of law enforcement officers anywhere in the country. You will never find better anywhere. And I just want to second that.
He's a
and
former
thank-
resident. The one who
Former
put that on is a former resident.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and just thank them for all they do on a daily basis to keep our community safe. It's much appreciated.
You're going,
and-
in response to that, I'm just going to let everyone know you're going to hear a lot more about that very soon. We're going to be making some pushes to get our police department some additional support and staffing and beef it up a bit and try to get on top of this Orange Place area. And in the next couple months, I think we'll be laying out for you a strategy to do that.
Great, thank you. In the school report, I am proud to announce that the Orange High School Pit Orchestra for All Shook Up has been nominated for our Playhouse Square Dazzle Award. It's one of only 7 schools out of nearly 36 to be nominated, and the Dazzle Awards, in case anyone's interested in going or learning more about it, will be presented on May 21st at Playhouse Square. The Orange schools are in the process of incorporating a new website, which will hopefully be up and running this summer. It should be easier to navigate with the mobile app, which is why I asked Tony about his mobile app. And it should be much more appealing and easy to use with notification capabilities. Senior week was completed last week with prom this past weekend, and senior project has begun. Graduation is exactly 1 month away. It's on June 3rd at Playhouse Square. And also congratulations go out to art teacher Dan Whiteley, who is an inaugural recipient of the Cleveland Institute of Art Excellence in Teaching Award. There were only 3 given in the state, and he is one of them, so congratulations to him. This week is, among other things I hear, it's Staff Appreciation Week. So remember to thank a teacher or a staff member who touched your life in some special way. One other note, the Kiwanis Club of Lander Circle is in the process of collecting items for its annual rummage sale. So if you're doing a spring cleanup, your trash is their treasure. So please, if you have anything to donate, drop-offs are on Saturday mornings this month, and in June, extra days will be added as well. Amanda stole my May the 4th be with you thunder. Mayor Kathy stole my Happy Mother's Day. So I'll just say Happy May and have a great week, everybody.
All right, thank you. I think that's everything. So good night, Godspeed.